Oh, Primacon, all you do is milk Hollow Knight Silksong. Wow, how did this guy manage to make Silksong videos every single day for 3 months straight when there's no Silksong? Primacon can't stop clickbaiting. God fucking damn it. Well, a whole month with no cope. You could not live with your own failures, and where did that bring you?
Back to me.
How's it going, Skong Gang? My name is PrimaCon, and we haven't had a Silksong discussion video on my channel in like at least 1 day. Seriously though, it has been a while because there hasn't been much, if anything, to talk about. And there has been a discussion video idea that I have been cooking up. So if you'd like to hear me yap about Silksong for about 10 minutes or something, I don't know how long this video is gonna be, grab your coffee, grab your cat, hit that subscribe button, I know you see it, and let's get into it. For my news cravers out there, let me start off with a little bit of news slash trivia slash good stuff. A subscriber brought it to my attention, and it's basically a screenshot of the Hollow Knight Silksong inventory screen from the demo that they did, where you could actually go and play Silksong in person in the fucking ancient times of 2019. Can you imagine there's people in 2019 who have actually played Silksong, like for real? That's crazy talk. Anyway, there's one item which apparently flew by most people's radars according to this person, and there was a video on it which had about 500 views, but it got taken down. It's basically this item called a shard pouch. The item description says, small bag of shell shards, useful crafting material often carried by prepared pilgrims. A lot of text used back in the day was a lot of placeholders, so I believe this could be a typo error. Maybe they were trying to say often prepared by pilgrims or carried by pilgrims, and they mixed both of them and put both of them in the sentence. I don't know. I'm not an English major, but I believe this is the item description for your actual storage of shell shards. If you've seen in demo footage, it has shown that Hornet carries 400 shell shards to begin with. Obviously, these numbers are very subject to change. But just how, as you can see in the screenshot, if you zoom in right there, you can see the Hornet's cloak that she's wearing. Same way you can see the pouch that she collects, which allows her to store shell shards. It was a very safe prediction that you will be able to upgrade this capacity later in the game, but this item description pretty much confirms it with their wordage of small pouch. It obviously implies that later you're going to be able to make this pouch much larger, allowing you to carry more shell shards. Pretty cool stuff. Again, the subscriber who brought it to my attention said that not a lot of people knew about it, so I'm bringing it out into a wider public limelight. You're welcome. But Primacon, I already knew about it all the way back in 2019 where I was just a little baby boy. Wow, that's crazy. Hey, look, someone's defending Team Cherry on Reddit. And they made a typo.
Anyway,
let's get into the discussion part of the video. I'm gonna be real with you all. I'm gonna be the realest person you ever hear. Team Cherry has kind of sucked the joy out of Silksong for a lot of people, and I really didn't get that sentiment before. Like last year, I was like, people are fucking crazy. But now, I get it. I think I'm in that boat too. There are a lot of fun and joy from Silksong. It's just disappearing. There have been many good indie devs who've been very communicative and vocal with their communities, keeping the love alive for that video game. Be it Stardew Valley, be it Deltarune, and another special game called Mind Over Magnet that a very big YouTuber, Game Maker's Toolkit, is developing, and I'll get to him later in a second because that's what this video is about. And of course, how can you forget Crowsworn? They had a really good live stream lately where they talked a lot about their video games and let their community ask them questions live on Twitch. Now, communication is good and all, but what this does, it puts the human factor into the video game. It's not soulless corporations making these games, it's indie developers, people with a lot of passion, and when they talk to their community about these games, makes it feel very human, doesn't it? Makes you happy about it. Makes you happy waiting about it. And a lot of people have been asking Team Cherry to do the same, and it's really sad to me that they get told to their face, hey, let Team Cherry work. Hey, it's not their job to communicate. They don't owe you anything. I'll be real with you. You look at any big game, Apex Legends, Overwatch, or any big game with like a smaller, tighter community like Team Fortress 2 Titanfall, one common thread you will notice which divides two different kind of video games and their future is developers who abandon their core community and developers who stick with their core community to the end of times. And the differences are massive. Team Cherry, it seems like, has really abandoned their core Hollow Knight community. And I feel like it is that core community that would have carried Silksong into the future and gave it the longevity, I can never say that word.
longevity
like Hollow Knight has. Hollow Knight is still relevant even though it's been out for 7 years. It's still considered the face of indie gaming and probably the biggest, most popular indie game out there, right up there with big hitters like Undertale. And it really worries me because I do not think that Silksong will carry with it the same amount of legacy. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Reason number one is what I've been talking about so far, which basically boils down to new fans will come and go all the time, but you have a core community, which is what pushes your game from best to a masterpiece. Millions of people have played Hollow Knight, but not all of them have stuck around, only a very small percentage of that. And it's those small percentage of people that would carry Silksong's legacy forward. But by treating your community like dog shit, you run into the risk of those players also leaving you, and a lot of people have. You see that sentiment on Reddit all the time where people are like, hey man, I'm kinda done, not by just waiting for the game, that's completely fine, but being treated like absolute dog shit by the developers. It's just really disrespectful, and why would you stick around when there's other video game developers out there who are offering you way more? Which brings to the next good point. When Hollow Knight came out, it was one of a kind of a game. There was nothing else like it which was to that quality, and it really left a mark and stuck in people's head for being something unique, different, and reviving the Metroidvania genre. That is once in a lifetime of a game. These days, games as good as Hollow Knight come and go all the time. Like Nine Souls came out, Animal Well came out, that game was praised a lot. Who's talking about Animal Well today? Not many people. Nine Souls was hype. Who's talking about Nine Souls today? Yeah, maybe a few people here and there. And Nine Souls was a banger of a video game. Metroidvania is now one of the most popular genres, so obviously the ceiling is raised way high, the bar is there right now. And Silksong has been in development for so long that I do not think it'll leave the impact that Hollow Knight has. And like, yes, I talked about bad communication from developers, but there's also another reason, which is diminishing returns for more dev time put into a video game. Now what am I talking about? Basically, once the game has crossed a certain amount of time, people have insane expectations of it, and no matter what you do, it will be underwhelming, and a lot of people will look at it and be like, this really didn't need to be in development for like 6 years with zero communication from devs. It's a good game, it just doesn't blow you away. It's not the next coming of Christ like many people want it to be. Like, imagine if Silksong dropped all the way back in 2021 or 2020. How hard it would have hit. I feel like that was the height of the Hollow Knight community. That's like when you strike when the iron's hot. And the longer the video game is in development, the more time Team Cherry takes to do whatever it is they're doing, which is again crazy because we have no idea what they're doing. The more risk they run into of their game being irrelevant like a month after launch. Because it's not like a game like Nine Souls where it's not a big known developer and they drop a game and people play it and they're like, oh, that's pretty fucking good. You have such high expectations which only worsen with time, you know what I'm saying? And adding no communication on top of it, it's a recipe you're opening yourself up to crazy criticism when the game comes out and really harming your reputation and the legacy that you've built up with Hollow Knight. Lastly, I want to get into a video that made me want to make this discussion video in the first place. It's a really good video by Game Maker's Toolkit. The hardest thing about finishing a video game. If you don't know, he's developing an indie game called Mind Over Magnet, and he's been developing it for like 3 years now, and he's making a YouTube series called Developing where he puts out episodic videos of challenges he faces and how he's learning game development. Is really cool, highly recommend you check out. But I'll play a few clips from the video that really echo off of what I'm trying to say. And again, I wouldn't have to talk about any of this if they had just communicated and let us know where exactly they are in development, if they're still adding content, if they're polishing, if they have any plans to release the game anytime soon. If we had any communication from the developers, this wouldn't be even a topic of discussion. But now we're about to jump into some wild speculations.
That all sounds pretty good, but I also had another slightly secret plan, which was to finish the game in 2024, no later than December 31st. I refused to work on the game for another calendar year.
Setting a harsh deadline, very important. He goes about it later much in detail in the video, where basically you can keep adding content to the game forever. No game really has an end to it. No development is ever finished. You kind of have to put your foot down and be like, okay, this is where it ends and I have to put it out. And it's funny because that's exactly how Team Cherry has said that they've worked in the past, where they always have a finished game that they keep adding content to, but at any time they can stop the development, call it a day, polish it, and ship it out. So it's crazy that I even have to talk about that. But the main takeaway here is I do not think they have set themselves with a strict deadline. Clearly not, because they missed a release window like it was nothing and then refused to communicate with us for a whole year after it.
I've been working on this game for over 3 years, which was never the plan. But I do desperately want to release this game this year. I want to move on. I want to stop thinking about magnets. I want to make other games. I want to make other videos, and I feel like I am really straining the patience of my very generous Patreon backers, including the 38 new supporters who have joined the campaign since the last episode of developing.
Now, that sounds awfully familiar, does it not? Not straining the patience of your backers too much? And again, the reason it's so worrying is because I don't know. None of us know if this is the mindset Team Cherry even have right now. Or are they in the boat of Rockstar, where after making GTA 5, Rockstar was like, yeah, fuck it. We don't really need to care when we release GTA 6. If money isn't an issue, the game could come out in fucking 20 years for all we care. And again, I don't know what mindset Team Cherry have, but again, listen to this. This is what I was talking about before.
Well, I took a few Zoom calls and popped to the Develop conference in Brighton and started talking to other game developers about their experience of finishing games. And basically everyone told me the exact same thing, that very few games ship with all of the ideas, levels, mechanics, and story beats that the developer originally intended. And in fact, it's super common for a game's scope to change at the very last minute in order to hit the game's release date, or to come in under budget. And in fact, some of the greatest games of all time are missing significant amount of content due to last-minute changes in scope.
And again, I'm holding it back again and again till the point is in your head. I would love to sit here and be like, that's probably what Team Cherry is doing, guys. Trust me, guys, they realize that they've pushed it too far. They've probably set out a deadline to themselves that they have to finish the game by February 2025. They're gonna announce it pretty soon at the Game Awards in December. They're polishing the game now. They've understood that, this will just keep going on forever, and they have to deliver the game eventually. But we don't know that. People have been saying that last year. People said that the year before. People could probably say it next year. Who the fuck knows?
But I think there's a fundamental fight between wanting to put absolutely everything into the game and wanting to release the game while you're still alive.
I'm pretty sure Team Cherry shares this sentiment too. I just wish they would come forward and talk to us. They went to an expo in Japan, for Christ's sake, so don't tell me that they're so busy with developing that they cannot communicate with their community. It's an active choice to not communicate with your fans, and a choice that I would never understand, ever.
No more levels, no more mechanics, no more magnets. At some point, I had to just decide to lock down the content and decide that this was everything that was going to be in the game. And from that point on, to focus my attention exclusively on polishing and playtesting.
Remember, that's exactly what I was saying all summer. Guys, there's no way Team Cherry is still adding content. If they missed their deadline that they set out, it probably was because of porting and polishing. I was using the word porting left, right, and center. And then what happened? A whole year passed, summer came, summer went, no communication from Team Cherry. Now we're in August. If we're about to hit a year and a half in December since their promised deadline. So now, on what basis do I make this claim that, guys, they're probably done adding content, they're probably still polishing? Because again, they don't talk to us. And a lot of people, a lot of content creators just are like ostriches. They dig their heads in the sand and they're like, this is fine. And if anyone calls their fucking dear Team Cherry out, then that's the biggest heresy, and we need to be patient, and we're fucking entitled gaming bastards.
So that is what I've learnt about finishing games. That there is no finish line. There is no goalpost. There is no giant pipe that sucks up you and all of your magnet friends. There is no external sign that the game is finished. You just have to stand up, say, this is it. I'm done. I've called it. You just have to be okay with content going unfinished and ideas being unexplored.
And if that's really not okay, Team Cherry, then you have to be okay with realizing that talking to community will put the soul back in Silksong. It'll be so nice to have discussions going on again, people speculating, people talking about Silksong in a happy way. Because I feel like at this point they're banking so hard on their success of Hollow Knight that no matter what, Silksong will just do so well. And I used to be a believer of that too, that hey, everyone's just gonna forget about the lack of communication, and when Silksong come out, people are gonna be so happy and they're just gonna love the game. But now there's a new layer to it that I feel like I hadn't really explored before, which is how long will that last and how long will people forget and move on to the next thing. I hope I look back at this video in a year, 2 years, 3 years time, whenever Silksong come out, and I was like, wow, I was worrying about fucking nothing. Silksong is a legacy. This game is amazing. It was definitely worth the wait. Playing the game definitely didn't feel like that they should have just released this 3 years ago and it would have hit much harder, and they had diminishing returns for all these delays that they had with no communication for nothing. I hope that's not the case. Again, I'm not a hater. Hollow Knight still stands to this day as my favorite game of all time. Silksong still stands to this day the reason that my channel grew to the heights it did. I have almost 12,000 subscribers right now. I never ever imagined I would hit that number. Start of the year, I had 350 subs. It has allowed me to branch out, make other content like Dark Souls. My Dark Souls 1 video is now the most viewed video on my channel. I'm loving playing Dark Souls. I'm gonna be branching out into more video games, experimenting more on my channel. I love talking about Silksong. People have this wild concept that, oh, when Silksong comes out, like, I'll be sad because then I can't make cope videos. Well, that's so stupid. I can just make videos on the game. I have no reason for this game to not come out or to suck or for Team Cherry to not communicate. All I want is betterment of the game, but at the same time, I'm a bit done with some of the community being like, this is completely fine. Cause in no world it's fine. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this really lengthy discussion. Went on for way longer than I anticipated, but hey, made me feel good to just get my thoughts about Silksong. Can't wait for your comments calling me a Silksong milker, and as always, I'll see you soon with a new video. Primacon, signing out.